I got overwhelmed. We opened up one of the bags to see what they had in them, and I got punched in the heart. They had their kids do up a bag with a cookie in it for the truckers, and they attached a note with it. Sorry, I'm getting emotional again. I'm going to show you what it was, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. Some little kid made this. Reach for the stars, we believe in you. And there's a picture of a truck. Inside of it, they left a note. The note says, "Dear Mr. or Mrs. Trucker, it's really awesome that you're standing up for human rights. I'm only 11, so I don't know much about it, but I believe what's happening is wrong. And I know you can do it. Sincerely, Kate." This is absolutely amazing, and this is why we're doing it.
Hello, all you beautiful and amazing people. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the show. If you're new to the channel, I'm your host, Hyde, and this is Hide and Seek Media, where we talk about news, sports, politics, and so much more. Freedom. What are you willing to do for it? What are you willing to do to save yours? You willing to quit your job? Are you willing to stand up and protest? What about physically fighting for your freedoms? Are you willing to kill for your freedom? These are questions that every American needs to ask themselves right now. Because as we've seen throughout the world, governments have no problem taking away your freedoms. As we saw in the Canadian Freedom Convoy, Prime Minister Trudeau not only froze out bank accounts and had GoFundMe pages and Send Go, whatever it was, shut down as well for the Canadian truckers. But they even got to crypto wallets and shut them down. And on top of that, he went as far as to enact emergency powers and send riot police to go arrest these protesters who were doing nothing but having bouncy castles and live entertainment, kids out there having fun. Nobody breaking anything. Nobody causing any fights or disturbances. They blocked some streets. And you sent the Gestapo after them. But we saw a lot of these same kinds of convoys sprout up all over the world. In England, in Germany, in Belgium, and even now in the United States. There is a freedom convoy getting set to start and drive from California all the way across the country to DC in time to make it to the Capitol for the State of the Union address. So I ask you again, what are you willing to do for your freedoms? Let me know. Leave a comment down below. I really want to know how far you are willing to go to be able to keep enjoying the life you live right now. Or even a better one in the future. If you happen to live in a place like California or New York where life may not be all that great. But are you willing to take time out of your busy schedule to go protest like these Canadians did? Are you willing to stand up and be heard like these Canadians did? That's the big question that a lot of Americans need to ask themselves. And hopefully, by going through some of these news articles, I'll be able to give you some more information to make a better informed decision as to what you should do for your freedoms. I know what I will do for mine. I know to what lengths I will go to ensure my freedoms and the freedoms of my family. What are you willing to do? We're going to read these stories, and hopefully I can give you some better insight and help you answer that question. But before we do, if you like the work I'm doing here and you really enjoy this channel, there are many different ways you can help support my work. I list a bunch of different crypto wallets in the description that you can donate to. I also have my own merch link where you can head over and pick you out some funny political t-shirts and hoodies. Or you can head over to my locals community and become a member. With your premium subscription of just $2.99 a month, you'll get access to not only all the videos I put up on YouTube and Rumble, but articles I write and exclusive content I upload only to locals. So head on over to locals and become a member today. But the best way you can help support my channel is by hitting that share button and sharing this video on all social media platforms. Early on in my YouTube start, I got a permanent warning and have had multiple strikes. So YouTube carefully monitors the videos I put up, and some of them don't get the impressions that they should. So I need all of you out there who watch this video to hit that share button, share this on all social media platforms with all your friends, and help bring more people to the channel. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers, and the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if people like you share that video. So share this video, and now let's get to these news stories and talk about what we can do to save freedom in the U.S. So we have this first story here from Fox News, right? Canadian Freedom Convoy, Ottawa police say protesters' actions prompted horse-mounted cops to trample truckers. Canadian truckers have been protesting in Ottawa since late January. Right now we're in late February. Right? They go on to say, police addressed the public Saturday regarding the ongoing trucking. They go on to say, police addressed the public Saturday regarding the ongoing Trucker Freedom Convoy protests raging in Ottawa, Canada. The press conference comes on the heels of mass arrests and aggravated clashes between law enforcement and the protesters, who have now grown in numbers to include not only Canadian truckers, but also members of the public and even Americans who have traveled to join the cause. They have faced a barrage of resistance, shoving, and vitriol. We all saw that the protesters were aggressive with the officers, and we needed to use horses at one point, Police Chief Stephen Bell said at the conference. As a result, we responded this morning by adding helmets and batons to our equipment for the safety of our officers. He continued, our officers continued to face resistance at one point. A flare gun was ignited by a protester. Officers used a chemical irritant, also known as pepper spray, to disperse unlawful demonstrators who were resisting police orders. Sadly, we again saw young children being brought to the unlawful demonstration and to the front of our police. Canadian truckers have been protesting in Ottawa since late January, calling for an end to the COVID-19 mandates. On Monday, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act for the first time in Canadian history. Reporters questioned Bell on rumors and video that purported to show violent clashes between the horse-mounted officers and protesters. Quote, what I can indicate is there was two members of the protesters who did collide with the horses. They fell down, Bell told reporters. They immediately got up and started again engaging in their protest and demonstration activity. That is one of the circumstances where, as we monitor it, we're identifying this information as quickly as we can, providing accurate, real information about what is occurring on the ground. The police chief warned about misinformation coming out of Ottawa's protest and assured the public that they will be quick to turn around reliable info as it becomes available. I kind of want to take a pause right here and say that over the last week or so, I've been watching quite a few videos and live streams from people at these protests. And I can tell you, I have not seen one video where these protesters were being belligerent or were instigating the police. Everybody I saw interviewed said that if the police, came through, that they would, surrender and be arrested, because that's not what it's about. It's not about violence. It's about getting your message across. So these scuffles or whatever that they're talking about, and this violence from these protesters and the misinformation, I would warrant to say that from my perspective, the fact that they're saying these protesters are being violent would constitute misinformation from my perspective, because I haven't seen any video as to that, to support that claim. So I don't know that I would believe the police when they say that there's violent protesters, right? And if there's probably a very, very small number compared to the number of protesters that there is. And so you can't treat the entire group based on one or two bad actors, right? But they're just using that as an excuse, right? Which doesn't surprise me. This story has been garnering a lot of attention, and a lot of people have been calling these protesters right-wingers and white supremacists and all kinds of stuff like that. You even had Geraldo Rivera go as far as to call this protest an act of war. You have this story from the Daily Wire. The height of idiocy. Dagan McDowell blisters Geraldo Rivera for calling trucker convoy an act of war. Yeah. Rivera argued that the truckers' move to effectively shut down the U.S.-Canadian border in certain places amounted to an act of war, prompting an immediate response from several others at the table. Noting that their blockade of certain roads was having a dramatic impact on international commerce, Geraldo said that this was like an act of war. Co-host Greg Gutfeld shot back, "You're talking out of both sides of your mouth." And then Dagan McDowell says, "To call closing some lanes on a bridge an act of war is the height of idiocy." Rivera went on to refer to truckers as thugs, arguing that at least a couple of auto plants have already been shut down for a week because parts cannot get through the blockades. They've put these people out of work. How dare they? He added. How dare they? How dare they? Well, I wonder all those people that are out of work and work at that plant. I wonder just how many of those are in Ottawa supporting the protests. I wonder how many of those you've actually interviewed, Geraldo, and asked, "Hey, do you support the protest, or do you support, being shut down for a week and losing your money?" Right? Let's look at this logically. If you ask somebody, "Do you want to go to work or do you want to be free?" Well, if they choose work over freedom, I don't know what can be done for those people. Honestly, they're lost. And all I can hope is that videos like mine can shine light on truth and hopefully lead them out of the darkness. Freedom should always be your number one priority. Always. That's what this country was founded on. That's what America was founded on, was freedom and liberty, to be who you want to be, to do what you want to do without a tyrannical government or monarchy forcing you to do what they want. That's what this convoy in Canada is about, and that's what the convoy in the U.S. is going to be about. We have this story here from timcast.com. American truckers prepare to descend on Washington, D.C. in the Freedom Convoy 2022. This isn't just about us as truck drivers or a certain group of people or anything. It is about Americans, said truck driver Mike Landis. A group of truckers from California is preparing to take a stand against the federal government's COVID-19 state of emergency by traveling to Washington, D.C. in a movement they've called the Freedom Convoy USA 2020. The group has set plans to begin their journey from Barstow, California on February 25th and arrive in the capital on March 1st. The group, called the People's Convoy, is organizing truckers who will travel to the nation's capital and demand the Emergency Powers Act be lifted. According to Chris Marston, they hope to end the mandates in the United States. Marston is the chairman of the American Foundation for Civil Liberties, a nonprofit that advocates for civil liberties. We demand that the declaration of national emergency concerning the COVID-19 pandemic be lifted immediately and our cherished Constitution reigns supreme, the group said on their website. The group is inspired by the Canadian Freedom Convoy that has gained worldwide attention, calling for Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to lift the nation's cross-border vaccine mandates and more. Maureen Steele, an organizer for the People's Convoy, appeared on War Room, a political talk show and podcast hosted by former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. During her February 16th appearance, she said that a map of the convoy route would be posted to the group's site soon. And here is a tweet with that map. And so we are live. We start our convoy on February 25th. We have the dates, times, routes, pit stops, and have everything ready for the March 1st arrival on the National Mall, DC. Hashtag Freedom Convoy USA 2020. The group said they are taking measures to ensure the financial support of the convoy does not encounter the same troubles as the Canadian group. To ensure donations for the truckers won't be frozen or routed to other causes, the People's Convoy is accepting donations directly on its website. For me personally, it's about our freedoms as Americans, said trucker Mike Landis in a video published on the group's website. This isn't just about us truck drivers or a certain group of people or anything. It's about Americans. This is for the people. And here's the tweet. So here's the map, right? They're going to start here, Barstow, travel up to Salt Lake City. You know, they can probably make one or two of these stops in 10 hours, right? So you're probably going to hit Denver before they stop, and then they'll probably end up here in St. Louis before they stop again, and then probably Columbus before they hit Frederick, and then on to DC. So that's my guess anyways. I'm not a truck driver, but I know they have strict laws on how many hours they can drive before they have to stop. So I hope that all of these truck stops and everything along the way for this convoy make room. And all of you truck drivers out there who can join along should join along. This needs to be bigger than the Canadian one. This needs to shut down DC permanently. Not permanently, but this needs to shut down DC. This needs to let the whole world know that we are not going to stand for this crap anymore. that freedom rules in this country, that freedom reigns supreme in this country, and that we will not have our rights taken away from us. We will not go down without a fight. And we will be civil, and we will be nonviolent, in our first attempt. If you don't listen, I can't say the second or third attempts at trying to get you to pay attention will be as quiet. So, hopefully, enough of you out there are listening and paying attention. Because at the end of the day, without your freedom, you have nothing. This country, for over 250 years, has been the greatest experiment in freedom the world has ever seen. But we have gotten too complacent with that freedom. Just 100 years ago, we wouldn't have given up our individual responsibility and personal freedoms to the government to make life easier. We would have accepted the responsibility that life was hard and that it required hard work. But as the saying goes, hard times breed strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times breed weak men. Weak men create hard times. We are in the cycle now where hard times are about to come upon us. We're going to need a lot of strong people to get through those hard times to create the easy times again. But we can't wait for the hard times to create the strong men. We need strong men to stand up and fight the hard times as they come. So it's time to be silent no more. Stand up. Speak up. We all know how that's done in this country. Through civil disobedience and protest. Through your vote. At every level. From local all the way to federal. Most importantly, speak up for your own rights first. That'll give you the courage to speak up for other people's rights. That's what I've got to say on freedom. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate you guys watching. It really does mean a lot that you guys have made it all the way to the end of the video. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Smash that like button. It really does help the algorithm and really does put my video on the radar for YouTube to share. So hit that like button. Most importantly, share this video on all social media platforms so that I can reach my goal of getting to 100 subscribers. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I will catch you later. Peace.